Wonderful. We are live again one more time for Cold Call Battle. Amazing to see everybody today once again from Outplay. Thank you so much for joining in Cold Call Battle. And I'm excited again, once again, to host this Cold Call Battle because I believe in continuous learning, just like many of you here. Those of you joining in for the first time, Outplay's Cold Call Battle is to help SDRs, BDRs get better at what they do every single day. Pick up the phone, probably dial a few hundred numbers, and when you get that connect, ensure that your call is to the mark, your call converts to a meeting, and in turn, a good pipeline, right? And for those of you joining in, from season one, hats off to you. Thank you so much for being passionate about calling, being a strong advocate of cold calling and of cold call battle from Outplay. I'm Praveen. I'm from Outplay. Outplay, a modern sales engagement tool, typically suited for any sales rep, any SDR, BDR, combining with a brilliant conversational intelligence tool. So all those who are prospecting, all those who are outreaching today, Outplay is a must-have tool for you, right? And why did we decide to do cold call battle, right? I mean, today, in this economic climate, like it's not easy. The SDR, BDR role is not going to be easy today. Tons of emails are received by every persona, and it sometimes lands in spam or sometimes just gets piled up in the inbox. You probably don't get the responses the way you want. But then imagine this, when you're calling, it's a person-to-person connect. People connect with people. So what better channel than to do, to use call and connect with them, right? And that's exactly why at Outplay, we also recognize SDRs, right? SDRs, BDRs. Recently, we concluded the 30 under 30 for the year, and we were able to identify the 30 best, reps from across the globe. And very happy that one of the cold callers for today was also a special mention in the Outplay 30 under 30, right? So we're going to get into them very, very shortly, right? And let me quickly introduce the two amazing callers for today. Tyler from Rattle and Chris from Allego. Thank you so much, both of you. Thanks for participating in Cold Call Battle today.
Excited to be here, Praveen.
Wonderful. I'll start with you, Chris. SDR at Allego, right? Amazing. I mean, you outbound every single day, and you help sales enablement leaders in life sciences. I have a quick question for you. How should SDRs ensure they continuously learn, and how do they keep themselves updated? How do you do it?
Well, there's two questions there, isn't there? Like, so continuously learn is like the main bit is just making time for it, right? Scheduling, putting it in your day or in your week, making sure that you got time to do it. There's great tools out there that can help. One of the biggest things for me is, plug for the platform, but being able to listen to your colleagues' calls and the discovery calls. I've learned so much from not just going over cold calls, but actually going back over successful discovery calls, because you listen to what happens once you've booked that meeting and handed it over. That's when you really find out what the pain is, and then that can inform you for your next call. It's just that kind of continuous loop of, our job is to book the meeting, right? But at the same time, if we know more about what happens further down the process, there's more information for us to use in the call. So that's the main thing, really. Just make the time for it.
Wonderful. I mean, since you said you listen to calls, I know one of your calls was also recently part of the Call of Fame from Outplay. And thanks so much for contributing to the Call of Fame. And for those of you who don't know Call of Fame yet, Outplay has a library of nice, amazing calls. And like how Chris just mentioned, it's a brilliant tool for you to go and learn from the best. There are tons of cold calls out there, so listen and learn from them. Awesome. Tyler, awesome to have you here, man. Tyler from Rattle. He's part of the GTM team at Rattle. And Tyler, when I was going through your profile, one thing caught my attention. #GetBetterToday. I think that's your mantra, if I may call it. And why is it? Why so? Why get better today?
For sure. Yeah. So get better today and be recklessly optimistic. Those are my two mantras for sure. And you asked, why is that my mantra?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why today?
You can't do it tomorrow. Yesterday's history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Yeah, I think we join sales because we want to be in a profession where our efforts are rewarded and our skills are rewarded as well. And we're in an awesome time right now where things are changing so fast. So we have no choice but to get better today and tomorrow and continue to do the same. And like Chris said, there are so many opportunities to do that. You can get mentors, review your calls. Like there's just so many opportunities to get better that I feel like there's no excuse not to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think all of us need to do that. In fact, very recently, until recently, I was also managing an SDR function myself, right, as part of the Outplay founders of his team. And I read a very interesting book by Robert Cialdini. It's called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. And he talks about something called the rule of reciprocity, as in humans naturally tend to reciprocate when something is given to them. And it's very, very powerful. Many people think that cold calling is just about asking a few questions to your prospects, or it's simply about listening and gathering information. But then when I read this book, it gave me a very different approach to cold call itself, right? If we get better and practice every single day, it's not just about getting information, but it could also be persuasion, right? You could persuade somebody like how Chris was mentioning or Tyler was mentioning, get them to a meeting, get them in turn, part of your opportunity and your pipeline. So cold call should not just be about gathering information, but it's also about persuasion. That's a new thing that I've learned recently. Awesome. So let's get started with cold call of my Gyan, right? So how is this going to pan out? We have two guests today. Unfortunately, that one of them could not join in. So we have two cold callers today, and they're going to battle it against each other. Just for this is not real cold calling, as in they're not going to call real prospects. They're going to pitch their product to each other. All right. And at the end of one or two rounds, the audience here, you're going to pick a winner. You're going to select a winner for today's cold call battle. All right. Awesome. Right. And those are the rules. Okay. So when you guys start, so probably you can do a tring and then get started. I'll go backstage. So do you want to toss or going to decide who goes first? Tyler versus Chris. Shall we start with Chris, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
So Chris, you're going to pitch Allego. So who's your persona? What's your persona that you're going to call, Chris?
So, I mean, in my day job, I call kind of predominantly sales and enablement leaders, but also a lot of marketing. But for here, we're going to be on the brief. We're going to be doing like sales leaders.
Okay. Sounds good.
So you're going to be.
I'll channel my sales leader.
Head of sales. Awesome. All right. I'm going to go backstage. Right. So it's a real cold call that you're going to mimic now. And whenever you're ready, you can start.
Cool. We should do stuff. Ring.
Hello.
Hey, Tyler.
Yes. Who is this?
Yeah. Hey, Tyler. This is Chris here calling from Allego. Appreciate an interruption to your morning there. I wondered if you might have a quick moment so I can let you know why I'm calling. I'll keep it brief.
Yeah, Chris, I'm actually hopping into a meeting here at 12:40, so 2 minutes. But what you got?
That's fine. No problem. Listen, I'll take 2 minutes and you can see if it's worth us talking. So Tyler, every salesperson I've spoke to, every sales leader in the last few weeks has said that there's one big thing stopping them closing more now at the end of Q2, and that's deals dropping off the pipeline or going cold due to indecision or no real access to power. Gartner's saying that the average deal in this year has got more than 10 stakeholders, and a Pavilion survey this week says that 2/3 of deals are slipping in the mid to late stages. Just curious how you're making sure you're staying relevant with every stakeholder in your deals and keeping them engaged throughout that buying cycle.
Yeah. To be honest, Chris, I totally get that. I'm just seeing across the board that budget's been a big problem and deals have been stalling for various reasons. I'm not sure that talking to enough people has been the biggest issue. Is that what you guys are doing at Allego?
Yeah, less talking to enough people, but more within those deals. So you're getting into the deal, but it's being stalled because you've got a champion, right? And your champion is all for your product, but you've got decision makers behind the scenes, right? And they're the ones that can make or break a deal. So it's more around how are you making sure that you're engaging those people as well.
Yeah, that's just me, to be honest, being on my reps. We don't have a formal process in place, but
okay.
I mean, I feel like I have some pretty professional salespeople, and they should be knowing what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, appreciate. I've taken a minute already. Let me tell you a super quick story. So imagine I come off this call and I know the general buying process and who's involved with you at Rattle. My champion, you'll tell me the people like your SVP revenue Andy or your director of biz dev Elise, what they're going to care about, and anything that could potentially kill the deal. I'll go away and I'll build a microsite for them, which includes content that I know they're going to care about. I can see who's viewed it, what material they've looked at, when they've looked at it. Has it been shared with someone new, maybe your CFO or someone in IT? So let's think it's Monday night and Andrew's looking at a particular bit of content. He can then ask me questions in real time on live chat when he's actively interested in it. So I'm not going to be blindsided tomorrow morning when I've got a catch-up call with you to see how things are progressing. We tried this with troops and their win rate increased by 25% after using our DSRs. So you've had the 2 minutes. Would you be open to 20, 30 minutes on Friday? Have a closer look?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I loved how you brought up the actual names of my leaders and a competitor. Super interesting. Would love to, like I said, I'm hopping on a meeting. Would you
Yep.
just send me a quick email and we can find some time, at some
Yeah,
point
that's
here?
fine. I'll shoot you my my calendar link. We can book some time in. I'll give you a call a bit later on just to make sure it gets in there. Appreciate you got to go now, but yeah, look forward to it. We'll see you on Friday.
I cannot wait. See you, Chris.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks. That was a good start. All right. So let's do the debrief after Tyler calls Chris, if you guys don't mind. And then, yeah, we'll go in detail about both the calls. Is it okay?
Rock
All
on.
right.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
Tyler is going to call Chris right now. Tyler, you're going to pitch Rattle. And your persona, please.
Sales leader.
All right. Okay. So that's going to be an easy cakewalk for Chris. All right. Okay. Over to you guys.
Ring, ring.
Yeah. Hello.
Chris, it's Tyler Conway. You got a minute?
Yeah, I've got a minute. Yeah.
Rock on, Chris. To be honest, I do about 100 calls a day, so that was the nicest response I've gotten yet. I'm calling from a place called Rattle. We exist just to plug holes in sales motions, and I'm just trying to get a sense of Allego if you're seeing deals getting stuck in stage or stalling because reps are not following up with the next steps in your processes.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, we've got a fairly robust kind of process that we do, regular deal reviews and clinics. We make sure that the exec team get involved when they need to. So I mean, when you say kind of getting stuck, can you elaborate a bit more? What is it you do?
1000%. So, to be honest, I would love to dig a little deeper. A ton of deal reviews. How many of those are you doing a week?
Well, I mean, it depends on how many deals are on the table.
For sure. So
How many goes through?
We make the need for those, to be honest, past tense. What we're going to do is surface deal info to reps, frontline managers, and ultimately sales leaders. The critical information and insights to and from Salesforce proactively when they need it. I did sense that you have a few deal reviews, a lot of executives involved in deals as well. And ultimately that creates chaos in deals and eventually they go close loss. And we can't have any deals going close loss in this macro environment. I would love just to quickly show you how we're doing this. Are you opposed to a quick meeting? I know it's Wednesday. Let's do Friday at noon.
Yeah. So what? So you just want to kind of quick overview, show it is what you do. I mean, if you can just elaborate a tiny bit more on how you appreciate if I understand you correctly, you're taking all the information from the CRM, all the relevant information, and then surfacing that straight to me and the executive team, right? And then so you can essentially, you said that you make the deal reviews past tense.
Yes, sir. So the nature of deal reviews inevitably become a clean your room event. And it's when you're yelling, or hopefully not yelling, but talking to your reps. Yeah, I hear you laughing already. You totally get it. So you're working with your reps. You're saying, where's that deal? What's the stage? How come it's missing? Where are we at? And it's all because you're also reporting to people above you, whether it's the board or your CRO, trying to give them an accurate representation of where your pipeline is. And I know that makes you look bad and it makes the reps look bad as well. And ultimately, that loses productivity. So we're cutting that in half and making it obsolete by surfacing the real-time insights and getting your reps to follow your sales process that I've already know you've developed.
Got you. Okay. I mean, yeah. Look, sure. Let's 20 minutes is not there. I mean, a lot of what we do in the deal clinics and the reviews is more of a how can we help progress rather than why isn't this field filled in, or why aren't we here? But I'd be keen to see, see if there's any kind of synergy between what we do and what you do there at Rattle. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to 20 minutes. Yeah, let's book someone in.
Rock on. I love sales leaders who are interested in new tools. Sweet. So are you good for Friday at noon?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, send me a link and I'll if I can't make that, I'll put something in around the time. But yeah.
To be honest, Chris, a lot of my emails, I'm an SDR, you get it, I've been going to spam recently. I'm going to send you an empty invite right now. And if you'll just accept it for me on the call, just so I know we're all set. And if we need to rehash it a little closer, that'd be great. You got it?
That's fine. Yep, go for that. Yep, I got it. That's cool.
Rock on. Click.
Good job.
Thanks, Chris.
Wonderful. 2 meetings and 2 calls doesn't happen too often, but yeah.
This SDR gob's easy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a joke. Come on.
Yeah.
And both of you were too nice to each other, right? I mean, like how Tyler said, that's the best that he has heard probably in hundreds of calls. How often do you get these kind of prospects?
What, the nice ones?
Yeah, the nice ones. Yeah.
Do you know, more often than you would imagine? Like, very rarely do you get people who are. I think there's this big thing around cold calling, isn't there? That I'm going to disturb people and they're going to shout at me, and they just don't. We make hundreds of calls a week, and such a small percentage that's going to be like, I won't swear, but going to be not a nice person to you. You get a few, but it's part of the job. And again, you get a few that are kind of like we were there. Yeah, great, shoot. I think we both sell to sales leaders as well, so there's an element of
they get
the game.
Yeah, they kind of easy that way. Yes, that person definitely is easier. Even at Outplay, we reach out to sales leaders, right? That person is, I wouldn't say all that easy, but yes. So, Chris, like you said, I think a lot of people start the call with a mindset that I hope I'm not going to be shouted at. I hope I'm not going to be, the phone's not going to be banged on my ears and so on, right? I think that's a good mindset to come out of, right? Or a limiting belief to come out of. All right, let's quickly check how was the first call when Chris made the call to Tyler. Any takeaways or anything, Tyler, you felt could have gone better?
I loved how he incorporated my sales leaders by name and an old competitor, Troops. So definitely he showed me that he knew me, which is definitely like an important strategy when you're cold calling. I think that what I'm seeing in today's environment is if you don't get a meeting accepted via the cold call, then it might not happen at all. And I'll send you my Calendly link, just has a less show rate. If you had pushed, I showed interest, I probably would have taken the meeting and accepted it via the call.
And it's one of those things. I know everyone can says it, but that's my thing as well, of just sending it. Let's just get it a blank invite, my name, your name, so it's there. So that's a bit of constructive feedback for me as well.
Yeah.
Make sure I do it on every call, because that's one thing I do, right? And I find that those ones tend to be a little stickier.
Lovely.
I mean, it's hard to gauge, but
like how Taylor said, I mean, it's very important that you do your homework, right? I mean, to call out those names and to be on the fly, right? I mean, do you make notes before you call out a prospect, or how do you do that? I mean, or sometimes you get caught in calling one after the other, right? I mean, not every call is going to be a connect, so you probably are dialing one after the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Or if you use tool like Outplay, you have the power dialer where it's going to keep ringing, and the moment you connect, sometimes you kind of throw back saying, hey, who's that I got to connect with, right? So that's an important thing to do, right? I mean, do you make notes? Do you make comments? Or how do you ensure you do the homework?
So I mean, I tend to call into into the C-suite, so I tend to be kind of like know them, and I'll have, depending on what the potential challenge is and the trigger, I'll have I'll be the CMO or the CSO or whoever we are. So I tend to kind of know a lot of their names if you reference it, but we always do an element of research into the company, because you need to know. And in fact, I put my hand up today. I got it handed to me today on a call, because I got outright asked, what do you know about my company? And it was one of the few times that I couldn't properly answer that question. And of course, it's one of the few companies that you haven't done a proper bit of research on, and that's what you get asked. And I'm like, yeah, you got me. It wasn't a fit anyway, but it's that kind of, you get outright asked, got to have that in the back pocket. Don't need loads, but he was like, okay, so what do I do? What does my company do for a living? And how are you going to help me do it?
Agree. Anything that you want to add more, Chris, on your call to Tyler? Anything else?
Yes. Well, on mine to his.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than, yeah, just forgetting to add the ask for the meeting. That's what I tell everyone.
Wonderful. How about the second call when
Yes,
Tyler
sweetheart.
called Chris? I really like that call, and like you said, this was probably the nicest thing that you heard after 100 calls. That's true, right? I mean, sometimes
Praveen,
yes.
I will I'll actually say that. Like I think it's important to show as fast as possible that you're a human. And when you get a nice response, if you just call it out like, hey, that was the nicest thing I've heard all day. And to be honest, I make 100 of these calls. It usually gets a laugh of some kind. And then ice is broken and you can have a real conversation. So I love just calling out things as I see them. If I hear laughing, I'll say the exact same thing. I hear you laughing over there.
Yeah.
It's huge.
That's a brilliant opener. Yeah.
Apologies, I had a little stage invasion there. My little boy's come back from nursery. Just come to say hello. But yeah, on that one, super quick. Just acknowledge it. If someone laughs or whatever, and it's just we're just having conversations, right? That's all we're doing.
Absolutely. Right. A lot of times, I think SDRs forget the fact that they're having conversations, right? And they straight away get into pitching, and sometimes that does not even break the ice, or it doesn't build the rapport that you need. I mean, be human. That's all it takes, right? Wonderful. Chris, any other call out to Tyler's call when he made it to you? Any other observations? Anything else could have been done better? What did you like in his call?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously I don't receive too many cold calls, right? And I kind of we don't have like a set like Allego style, but I do a lot of I work on permission based openers, and it's very interesting to get that kind of really direct, immediate. So it was hello straight into this is what we're dealing with in a question. Which I liked.
Nice.
Constructive feedback. It felt like maybe you obviously your product inside out and the solutions you're solving. So because it was so quick and so direct, sometimes I was a bit kind of like wow, that's a hyper focused direct question, and I didn't have any kind of context behind it. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of that immediately kind of going straight in there. I was just like, oh, well, hang on a minute, right? I had to kind of factor in a little bit and think where we are, if that makes sense.
1,000%.
Do you find out of I know we've got a little bit more time, but do you find that works? That direct approach works more than not? I mean, obviously you do because you're doing it, but how do you find it?
For sure. I think it just depends on your style. A term that one of my buddies coined and we kind of use jokingly is like verbal judo or verbal gymnastics. And if you're a black belt in verbal judo, then I love the direct question, because if I get a no, I usually get some sort of information throughout that no that I can say, because we just solve so many problems throughout sales and revenue motions that for me to just to say, hey, we're an integration between Salesforce. Like no one needs to get into the nuts and bolts, and it's just hard to really talk about the whole umbrella of what we do. So by locking in on one thing that I view that most sales leaders focus on, they'll often be like, hey, Tyler, to be honest, we're not seeing deals slow down because reps aren't following up the next steps. But to be honest, we're having a hard time getting reps to do this, or we're having a hard time with logging calls, or we're spending too much time deal coaching. And then I'm like, oh, okay, new bit. I'm going to go this route. And I've just found that if you're able to take a step back and almost like pretend you're nodding to them, like have that kind of tone in your voice, like, oh, okay, and then pivot, you're able to have a successful call.
Awesome. But then I also believe this, right? I mean, just like how you do A/B testing of your email, sometimes you also do your A/B testing of your calls, right? I mean, you don't necessarily need to have one flow, one pitch though your persona is going to be the same. You can have at least 2-3 pitches, 2-3 openers, and ultimately, like how Tyler also said, something that you can resonate with, something that you're comfortable with, right? As long as that's there, I think you end up having good conversation, I feel. Yeah. Cool. All right. Okay. Just for all those who have joined in again, I mean, feel free to drop the name you feel is going to be the winner of this cold call battle, right? Whomever you feel is doing good, please do that. All right. And somebody said they want to get to hear a couple of more objections, right? And before we actually do the objection of the call, this macroeconomic condition right now, Tyler and Chris, what are the top three objections that you hear on a cold call today, and how do you kind of come over them?
Chris, I'll let you lead.
I mean, we have two mainly. I mean, everyone gets the budget one, right? And overcoming that is a case of, I mean, there's three types of no budget, right? We've got no budget right now, as in we don't have a penny, everything's gone.
Yep.
You know, nothing at all. We've got everything has been cut, so we're being super frugal, and we're not saying that we're not going to spend, but we might make 1-2 purchases this year, maybe, or it's going to be we've got money, but we need to be able to show the ROI, because the days of just buying something because it's quite shiny and helps is gone. You need to have demonstrable ROI, and you need to know that what you spend is going to actually have a return. So when you get that, you're just going to need to qualify a little bit and kind of say, you know, what sort of no budget is it? What are we talking? And be honest with it. If they say, look, we don't have any money until next fiscal year, great. Let's keep in touch. I'll shoot you a LinkedIn request. This is what we do. I don't want to be that guy, you know. But if we don't have a lot of money, but we're doing this, maybe it's worth exploring, and when you can see the return.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that we're facing is it's a combination of budget and timing, and the actual enemy that I think we're trying to fight is the status quo. Everyone's going to tell you our processes are working, just what we have is good enough. We're not in a place to do new things because one, budget's hard to prove, ROI, timing probably isn't right. Everyone's super busy, just trying to stay afloat. And then three, no one wants to be the person who brings on that new tool right now that doesn't have the ROI. And that's just, that's how you get fired. Totally. So I think what we're trying to do is show ROI. We can do that during the sales process. So just talk about, it's a long process. Let's talk about and see what you guys even need. And then just kind of reaffirming them hey, I'm an SDR. I'm not here to get your checkbook here on your credit card information here on the phone. Let's talk about this and see if it's even worth partnering, because we've done it with a bunch of other orgs. I'm going to show you how we've done that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. That's wonderful. I have a few more that I'd like to hear from you guys on how do you handle those objections. But before that, let's go for round two. So it was Chris calling Tyler. So, we'll ask Tyler to go first right now. Same persona, right? Probably don't be too easy right now. I shouldn't be saying that. But yeah, let's have some real battle out there. All right. I'm going to go backstage. So Tyler, whenever you're ready, you could call Chris.
Rock on. Bat phone, ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Chris, it's Tyler Conway. You got a minute?
Sorry, who are you?
For sure, Chris. I'm Tyler Conway. You have no idea who I am, but I'll tell you why I'm calling you. And if you hate it, I'll kick rocks. Is that fair?
Yeah, sounds fair. Yeah. So go for it.
I love the optimism. So I'm calling from a place called Rattle. Like I said, we exist just to plug holes in sales motions. I've been doing some research into you at Allego. Are you leading individual sales teams, or are you more above the frontline managers doing more strategic work?
Well, I thought you said you'd done some research. You should know that, no?
Yeah, Chris, to be honest, I make a lot of these calls a day. And I figure I'll just ask you, bite the bullet and figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, fair use. I mean, so yes, we've got an SDR team, a business development team, and we have an AE team closing.
And you're leading those directly, or are there managers above them?
So there's kind of like individual leaders in there. But yeah, we're a close-knit team. So two of them report in.
Got it. Yeah. Close-knit team. I love that. So I guess question for you, how much time per week do you have, or do you hope you have, those frontline managers coaching your sales reps throughout the sales process to close more deals?
So like I said, coaching them on individual deals to help them go through.
Yeah. Listening to call recordings, providing feedback, hands-on in deals.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, that's kind of what we do. We use our own platform here. So we take all the discovery calls, all the SDR or cold calls, and we can surface the relevant highlights to me when I need them. And we go through. So when we'll go through each week, and people will bring up relevant calls. Here's what I'm having trouble with, and then we can look at the coaching points. We can look at all the relevant bits, and if there's any keywords or triggers that they happen in that call, I get alerted to them. So if you're on a call, I know what's happening.
For
Is
sure.
that is that what you do? Are you kind of like Gong?
So great question. Gong is actually one of our partners. We love Gong. We use Gong, and Gong actually utilizes us throughout their revenue teams.
Interesting.
Help me understand here, because I love that you're that on top of your teams, your family. Do you have like AI doing deal coaching and logging that into Salesforce, or how are you guys having the deal coaching automatically done?
What do you know about Allego?
Oh, nothing, Chris. All I know is your name, your VP of sales, and I was just too excited to talk to you.
Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of what a big part of our software does.
Sweet.
That we use. That we
Okay.
it's what we use. So we have the deal coaching, we have the CI, and that's literally what we do. And if you've done the research that you said at the beginning of the call, you'd know that we're a direct competitor of Gong.
Oof. Dang. So I basically called your baby ugly there, didn't I?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say ugly. I'd say, I don't know what benefit we'd have from a Gong partner that does the same job we do.
Oh, yeah, totally. We partner with Gong as in we help their revenue teams. I'm not saying we're a Gong competitor or that I'm trying to push Gong
No,
here.
no, of course.
Sounded like you had
So
some
what? So Gong use you, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Right, gotcha.
It sounded like that you had the reps, the managers, and then you said you got hands-on involved in deals. How many people are involved in these deal cycles? So I'm going to guess rep BDR 2, frontline manager 3, and then you 4.
No, so it's predominantly down to the AE and the prospects. SMEs will get brought in as and when needed, because we've got a lot of our deals are enterprise, and they involve lots of kind of integration. Sales engineers need to go because it's a bespoke. The platform is not just a kind of a plug and play. We need to set everything up. So if and when we get involved in the deals, it will only normally be from like an SME point of view, or potentially we go in there to kind of help progress things if there is something that's stuck. But that's a rarity. It's more from the SME point of view, from the product.
1000%. Yeah. It's hard to have a plug and play platform nowadays. Everybody wants it to be customized to them, especially in this environment. How are you guys, like, how is your SME being brought in? Is this all via email?
How so? As in, like, how would we know to bring an SME in?
Yeah. How would you know when it's time, what he or she needs to know? Like what solutions exactly are they going to present during that demo and eventually build out? Like, how are you guys communicating on these deals if you're bringing in
Yeah,
your
so
SME?
that will come through the platform. The keywords that gets triggered. So if imagine we're on this call now is recorded. If I bring up the right information, then you can set up behind the scenes the triggers. So then the sales engineers will get pinged saying this is an objection that's come up, or this is something that we need. So it all kind of works through there, and then obviously we'll get together and manually talk about it, because you need to kind of have that human to human conversation. But in terms of, if I understood your question, in terms of how do the sales engineers learn that they're needed, is that what you asked?
I guess I'm asking how you guys are collaborating mid-deal. So I'm asking if you guys are communicating via email. Do you have a chat feature within Allego that you're drinking your own Kool-Aid with, or are you using like Chatter within Salesforce?
Oh, I've got you. Okay. I mean, yeah. So it's we just kind of get together really and do it. So the SMEs and the sales engineers will get alerted through the platform, and then it'll be regular kind of conversations that we go through Zoom and that side of things, and kind of and discussions.
Are y'all
Um,
one of the 5 businesses in the world that is still in person? Please tell me yes. That'd be awesome.
no, unfortunately not. No,
Oh,
no.
okay. So you guys are hopping on conference calls to discuss, like ad hoc.
Yeah, as and when needed. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of people in the office. Not predominantly. We've got some in the US and some in the UK, but the EMEA team are mainly office based.
Rock on. Yeah. So to be honest, Chris, I was gonna tell you all about how, if you guys are using Slack or Teams, we're gonna automatically bring those insights that you're already logging into Salesforce and all those conversations you're having on deals that these SMEs are being to be involved with. You eventually get to see. We're gonna automatically bring those all into a deal room and show you all the insights at the right time. Again, so that conversation and that communication doesn't need to happen ad hoc, and you don't need to go scroll through your emails to go figure out where deals stand or what the customer recently asked about. And those SMEs know what to present on. But it sounds like you're good there. I guess my last question, I know you have given me so much time here. So again, you're the man. Are you guys like, how are you guys getting all that information that you're receiving during your sales cycle? How are you going to get that back into Salesforce?
Well, we go in there. Yeah. So how does it get input in there? I see.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, at
And
the moment, unless we kind of implement something, that's the manual process at the moment. So
yeah,
that could be where you might be useful. But again, I'd need to know more about that, because implementing anything new right now is going to be, you're going to have to change the world in order for me to get the checkbook out.
I'm selling a product where I actually believe I'm changing the world. So you're all set there. It sounded like your words where it seemed like you could be useful is getting the right insights. Actually, it seems like getting it out of Salesforce is easy. Is getting the insights into Salesforce where you guys are seeing bottlenecks?
No, it's not really a bottleneck. I mean, it's working. We don't find it slowing things down. We don't find that things are siloed. It's never been flagged as an issue before by anyone.
How in the world are you? Okay, you're not one of the 5 businesses in the world that's in person, but you are the only business in the world who loves using Salesforce. How are you guys doing that?
I wouldn't say we love using Salesforce. No one loves using Salesforce. No one really has much choice but to use Salesforce.
Yeah, and to be
what
honest,
you can do, use someone else.
yeah, and that's really the reason we exist and the reason I'm passionate about this product, because you're a salesperson and you get the pitfalls of Salesforce. What we see by the CDC is 30% of deals, 30% of revenue is lost every year by orgs, not because of like incorrect product, not perfectly positioned. It's because of inefficiencies in their sales process and utilizing this beautiful gross tool we call Salesforce leads to revenue leakages. And I'm not saying you're one of those orgs. You've been incredible to me so far, so I'm sure you're an awesome sales leader. But what I'm saying is we partner with orgs large and small, and even your competitor Gong, to solve for this problem. I'm not asking for you to bring out your checkbook here. I just want to show you. Like, are you free? I'm gonna go tomorrow, so you don't get cold feet on me. You free tomorrow at noon?
I mean, I don't know if it was me or you, but one of us broke up then. But listen, look, what I think for now is, I'm happy for you to send me a bit of info.
Yep.
Right. Have a look. Shoot me a LinkedIn request or something like that. But right now, I don't feel that it's the right time to bring anything in, because it's just not that much of an issue for us. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. I get what you do, and I can see why it would be useful. But I just don't see it being something that's really. I think we're both sales folks, right? I don't have enough pain.
Don't have
It's
enough
not
pain.
it's not hurting me enough at the moment to warrant kind of looking at something new.
I think what you have right now is 1,000 paper cuts, and you think that's normal. And not to call your business bad, Chris, but what I'm seeing is we're helping sales leaders across the industry solve for problems they didn't even know exist as we define a new organization, as we define a new environment. All I'm looking for is to show you, because why am I so passionate? Is because I get people on these calls who were skeptical just like you, and they end up thanking me afterwards, and they say, wow, to be honest, I only took this call because Tyler was just way too persistent, and I knew he was going to keep annoying me. And then they progress through a deal. It's like, oh, and I know this isn't the right time, but at least maybe when there is budget, you're like, okay, that Tyler kid had a really cool product called Rattle. Let's reach back out to him. Again, let's take a look at this. You free tomorrow?
I am free tomorrow, but yeah, like I said, if you can just, I get it, right? I do get it. I just think that for now, like, if you've got like some, you say that you speak to people all the time and they say, oh, Tyler changed my life. Send me a bit of info on that, right? Tell me how they do it.
You want information on how Tyler changed?
You got case studies, right? You've got
Yes,
case
sir.
studies. Social. I get it. I just don't think that right now is going to be the way. Yeah.
Totally fair. And this is what I'm just going to predict the future, because I've done this before and this is what's going to happen. I'm going to spend about 30 minutes, 30 more minutes than I did before this call, researching Allego. I'm then going to write up an email that's perfectly tailored to you. And it's going to be like the Mona Lisa of emails. Then you're going to spend 20 minutes reading it, trying to decipher what I'm saying. And then another 15 looking at the website of Rattle, saying, what does this make sense? What does this mean? And in the end, it's going to be 45 minutes of your time, and you're going to say, maybe I'll respond. Or what we do is we meet tomorrow, spend 25 minutes, and on the spot, okay, this will work for Allego, or you know what, this won't work. I appreciate learning what other organizations in the space are doing to solve these problems. And at the worst case scenario, you've gotten a free consulting session on how people solve for these problems. So I can totally send you an email. What I'm looking to do is just to save both of us time, show you tomorrow. I have your email, chris@bestvpofsales.org. And I'm just going to throw some time on for noon in EMEA.
I mean, but if you want to throw me a calendar invite, do. But I need to see what you've got. And if you're spending 20, 30 minutes crafting the Mona Lisa of emails, hopefully it won't take me 20 minutes to read it, because all I want is like a couple of case studies and a couple of relevant ones that are to me. So spend the 20, 30 minutes, like you said, doing the research into Allego and finding out who we are and what we do and why I care. And then send me an email that's got the relevant proof points. Send me the meeting invite. If the email does what you says it does, and it's just smiling, just a little tiny bit like the Mona Lisa, I'll meet you at noon.
That sounds like the fairest deal I've ever heard. I will do that. Did I get your email right when I said it earlier?
You did. Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, Chris, I've appreciated this call more than you know. I've learned too much to even be fair, and I'll craft that email right now and cannot wait to see you tomorrow. Bye.
Sweet. Send it over. What's up?
All right. Click.
Boom.
That was nice. That was good. Long call. Not too often that you have such a long call, right?
Yeah.
No, man. Yeah,
that was a perfect example of where not enough research can bite you in the butt. So
I feel a little bit bad for you, but because I got my ass chewed out today, man. So I'm like, no, I'm going to hand it out to someone else as well.
All right. The battle is getting hotter. That's good. All right.
Yeah.
Shake out of your roles right now, because you're going to reverse roles. So Chris, you're going to call. Tyler, it's going to be a little hard on you. I don't know. Maybe. All right. I'm going backstage whenever you guys are ready.
I don't.
Gonna go hide him. Sorry, dude. 1 sec. It's gone. Yep. Ring.
Hello.
Hey, Tyler.
Yes, that's me.
Hey, Tyler. Listen, we haven't spoken before. This is a cold call. Do you want to hang up, or can I let you know why I'm calling?
I do want to hang up, but
okay. Are you going to?
I will listen to what you have to say for 10 seconds.
Perfect. Listen, give me 30 seconds, and if you don't think it's worth us keep talking, we can go on our way. If you do, great. So listen, I typically speak with sales leaders, companies of your size, 50, 100 people, particularly, West Coast SaaS companies. They tell me they're focused on one of two things. Listening to every single sales call or shadowing every meeting is impossible. And they're concerned that kind of winnable opportunities are being lost, and they don't really know about it. Or two, there's a heavy reliance on a small number of reps, and they want to be able to replicate what those guys are doing with others, so they can minimize their potential losses. I get the impression you're going to tell me that neither of those are relevant.
What gives you that impression, Chris?
Well, I mean, you're a little bit frosty when you open. You just answered a cold call and you said you wanted to hang up. So if I was you, I'd probably say no, neither are relevant, and then hang up. But what are we saying, Tyler? Are they relevant?
So they're not relevant, and I can tell you why. So I can tell you done a bunch of research. Yes, that's where we're based. That's how many people we have. We actually just launched our real-time enablement. And we're actually, drinking our own Kool-Aid here with making sure our reps are able to be repeatably A+ players and able to do real-time coaching.
So how does that work?
Yeah. Which part?
Talk to me about the drink your own Kool-Aid, the real-time coaching.
Real-time coaching. Yeah. So like every SaaS company, we've implemented AI to review Gong and or any call recording, offer the relevant coaching, and then automatically log it into Salesforce so that our coaches and our managers aren't spending hours and hours reviewing calls, and they're actually able to just review the coaching log and what actually happened during that meeting, and then spend their time actually coaching reps in relevant strategical endeavors.
Understood. Okay. You say you've recently rolled that out. Is that right?
Yes, both that and the real-time enablement.
Okay. So, and then just for a bit of context and flavor, how are you defining, like, enablement means lots of things to lots of people, right? And you brought in kind of, you said you brought in AI there as well. How are you kind of defining enablement there? What's real-time enablement for you?
Yeah. That's going to be coaching best practices with people who have done it. I guess I'm confused. What is it that you guys do?
Okay, so listen, if I give you the 30,000-foot view, right? So I work for Allego. We're a revenue and sales enablement platform, and what we do is we traditionally and generally we speak with sales leaders like you who have sales teams where, I mean, we all know the Pareto principle, right? So you've got 80% of your success is coming from 20% of your reps. What we're here to do, in one of the things that we kind of have on the platform, is to reduce that delta, right? So we want to have you producing more revenue, and we want that to come from more people. How we do that is by a bit like what you said about kind of surfacing those insights. But what we do is that makes us a bit different to the people like the gongs of this world, etc., and the gong calls, is not only do we have the coachable insights, but there's a way that you can. I suppose the best way of describing it is it's agile content, right? So you can create the relevant kind of content. You've got that being pumped into Salesforce, right? That's great from a deal perspective. But when it comes to bringing the reps on, you can create nuggets and what we call kind of, like they said, the best practice examples. So we can share it. You can highlight the little clip. Boom, goes to everybody in the channel. We've got a Slack channel, SDR best practices. Here's how this person did it. It automatically goes into there, and you can kind of see how those people are overcoming objections. A bit like yourself, we have the triggers. So you've mentioned Gong on this call, right? So right now, and I've said it again now. So right now, there's several people and their Slack channels pinging off because they're one of our competitors. So they're now going, "Oh, live. You mentioned this call. What's happening?" So I then know that as soon as I come off this call, I'll get several counter examples pushed directly to me, because then I can go, "This is what happens when you say it." Does that make a bit of sense in kind of how you do it? So it's that content that's agile. It's created in the moment, and I can create this clip. I can clip this call and I can send it straight over. Does that kind of make sense to you there? I mean, do you do anything like that at the moment?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. So part of our real-time enablement is we're sending clips. So just like you said, if during a call there's competitors mentioned, or even you move something to close lost, you're immediately surfaced call recordings or coaching videos on how to overcome that objection or that scenario. So it seems like we're kind of already getting the same thing.
Interesting. Okay. Well, how about this? Like you're a sales leader. It's 23. Everyone's pushing for those targets, right? Everyone's pushing. We've got quite a few different ways of tracking kind of how people move forward. We've got a few different kind of problems that we solve. Are you bringing on any new staff or any new hires? How does that work? So all these kind of best practices you've got, how do your new guys get on with them?
Are you asking our onboarding process?
I'm more kind of talking about, yeah. So if you've got someone that's new or someone that's failing, it's more kind of how do these get disseminated out to the people that need it. So you could have a new person coming in, or you could have someone who's having a dip and needs kind of extra coaching. How does that work? Kind of you've got that solution in place. How do they actually get the information kind of to them, and how do you kind of work it?
Yeah, everything is trigger based and goes automatically. So the triggers can be, I guess if a rep is struggling, then they're getting more deals pushed out of quarter, or more reps or more prospects ghosting them, or more deals going closed lost in general. And all of those that would then be logged in Salesforce is then automatically a trigger to shoot back out the relevant content.
I see. So it all kind of works through the Salesforce trigger. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, Chris, you've been like, to be honest, I do a lot of cold calling, so I respect how hard your role is. I really do got to go. I will take a look at Allego just because of how persistent you've been. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but if you shoot me an email, I promise I will read it.
Well, I appreciate the promise. What do you want me to send in the email? Because we've barely touched the tip of the iceberg here of how we help, revenue leaders like you.
We barely touched the tip of the iceberg. We've been on a call for 5 minutes. How about send me where you think it sounds like you guys are an enablement platform. It sounds like you're similar to either you mentioned Gong, and I feel like you're similar to HighSpot if I had to like put my finger on it, but again, I could be wrong there. How about you just send me how you're different in enablement, and we'll go from there.
We can do that. I can show you how we compare. I mean, you mentioned HighSpot there. I appreciate you're there. You said you think we're similar. I mean, we work in the same space, but we do a lot of different. What's your understanding of HighSpot?
Yeah, we don't use HighSpot. We use our own enablement platform, and our enablement leader runs it all himself. So I'd like to see how you can handle and maybe help him.
Okay. How about this? Look, I appreciate I've caught you on the fly. Let me send over what it is we do. I'm going to send you, and I've got your enablement details here. Your enablement guy's details. That's Steve, yeah.
No, sir. That is Tom. And I gave you a free tidbit there because I respect your hustle.
Okay. Well, Steve may want to update his LinkedIn profile. That's where I was looking, but appreciate that. So Tom, I'll find it in there. Yeah, Tom Jones got in there. I'm going to send you both the email, and I'm going to show you how we differ from HighSpot, and I'm going to show you why I think it's beneficial for you to like 20 minutes of time. And I appreciate you're super busy. And you've indulged me for longer than you've ever indulged anybody else, and I get that. Maybe it's because you're pitying the English guy who's calling at like 6:30 in the evening with his kids screaming in the background. I get that. But look, I'll send over that invite, and if you're using you don't use HighSpot, but your guy's interested, and I can show you how we differ, then maybe it's worth a little exploration. Best case scenario, brilliant. We've got something to talk about. Worst case scenario, a little bit more about who we are, and there's no harm done, and we can share a few bits of content there anyway that's going to help you in your enablement journey.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's do that. Do me a favor. You promised you'd read it. If anything in there is relevant, promise me you'll accept it.
I will accept it, or I will decline it, but I will not leave you ghosted.
I think in this stage, I can't ask for fairer than that.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure. Take care, Tyler. Ciao.
Yo, Chris, go work.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.
You too, man. Wow.
We actually just launched like meeting intelligence and real-time enablement. So really, really good work on that call.
Thank you.
Lovely. All right. While we review both the calls, all those who are there on this live call battle, feel free to drop your oaths. Is it Tyler? Is it Chris? And yeah, quick review. Tyler, Chris, how did both the calls go? Any takeaways? Anything that you feel could have done better? I like both the calls, of course, right? I mean, the only thing in the first call, Tyler, I mean, were you too pushy? I don't know. I mean, is there a time where you feel like, hey, I think this is what did you really feel that Chris was your ICP, or should you stop at some point of time, even persuading him for a meeting or to take a look at what you do?
1000%. It sounded pretty early on that Chris didn't seem to have a need for what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then it just comes down to the fact that I believe that when people see Rattle, especially sales leaders, it is such an eye-opening thing. And I also just love seeing if I can get the meeting. So I hope that if you can hear the smile in my voice, they usually don't get mad. They can sense
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'm laughing, and then eventually we'll both laugh and eventually hang up. So I always push harder than most for the meeting.
Absolutely. I mean, I really loved your tone, man. I mean, your tone was fun. It was exciting, energetic. 100% for that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that, and it's a fine line to balance, right? Between like when are you, like the phrase that I use, is like I'm persistent, but I'm not a pest. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be that guy that's kind of like peeing people off because you're going to burn bridges, right?
Sure.
And if I can't help you now, that's fine. Maybe I can help you a bit further down the line. I think the big takeaway for me would be. Again, like where I kind of like lost my thread in a little bit there is when is learn your objections more. Like I wasn't expecting you to come back with the revenue kind of, the real time objections, because I was going down our kind of what we class as agile content, the sharing best practice and individual videos and things. What I didn't do is I didn't lead down where I would normally go with that, which is about post deal field sales, because obviously a lot of what we do is kind of in person as well. Wow, the reps we sell to are in person, so it's about when you don't have the glorious luxury we have now of everything being recorded and AI taking all of the legwork out of it. The people that I'm selling to, the enablers, their sellers are in the field. So it's about kind of sharing those best practices. So for me, it would be just kind of prep for every outcome.
For sure. And I think both of us can probably agree that this call was a little harder than the first.
Yeah.
And I think this is like one of those examples probably for both of us where that follow-up email is something along the lines of, hey, look, it seems like I didn't strike a chord during this call, but I learned a lot. I would love to show you this, and this that we didn't actually talk about during the call.
Yeah.
Because I heard as I thought about it afterwards, or as I reviewed the call, you could bring in Allego into that. It sounded like I missed these few pain points. I'd love to talk about that later. So I think both of us would have a pretty gnarly follow-up email.
That's a great shout. Yeah, I know obviously Praveen, we're looking to wrap, but yeah, that's a great shout about just acknowledging it, saying, look, we spoke about this. I really think A, B, and C could be useful. I'm cognizant of your time.
Correct.
Let's follow up, right? And then you get that email, and I think we'd both get an accepted email.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Just because I think both of you did ask, right? I mean, what do you want in the email? I mean, that's a fair ask, right? I think that kind of, puts in a lot of context to what the person is also looking for.
Yeah. Because so much can go in there, can't it? What are you going to do?
All right. Cool. Time to wrap up. Thank you so much, Tyler. Thanks so much, Chris. I think for me, it is a very, very close call. I think both were brilliant today. Very rarely do I say it and call it out loud, but for me, both were, equally great. Both amazing learnings from both of you. But if I were to quickly check the comments and my back-end team, Ritvik, I definitely need to call out Ritvik for doing an amazing job bringing such amazing cold callers today and also making the show a successful one. And he tells me that the winner for today is Tyler by just a few votes. Well done, Tyler. Hats off to you. Right. And Thanks, both of you. Thanks a ton for participating today in Cold Call Battle. Thanks to all those listeners out there. And yes, there are a ton of such amazing cold calls in the Outplay cold call library. So the Call of Fame is at outplayhq.com/library. Ritik is going to drop the link in the comment section. Of course, if as an SDR you would like your call also to be featured in the Outplay Call of Fame, feel free to drop a line to us. We'll be more than happy to feature yours as well. And once again, great day, great cold calls, and let's continue calling, booking more meetings. Hats off to you guys. Thank you so much. Let's meet another day soon with 2 more great cold callers. Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Nice to have us on. Yeah, good to see you, Tyler.
Rock on.